Armtheanimals.com. That's right, armtheanimals.com. Animal rights, animal welfare company. Small company. Go there. If you like this shit, go there. Get yourself something. Give these guys some business, all right? All right. Now, what I want to talk about is that Alfie Evans, you know, that poor kid from, I don't know, overseas somewhere who's basically on life support and, you know, he's in a vegetative state. His parents in the courts are battling. They're going to war over whether to keep him alive or pull the plug. And this one really, you know, pulls at my heartstrings because, I mean, it's a little kid, man. And there's always something so devastating about kids, you know. When I'm out and I see a kid who's like 10 years old and he's in a wheelchair and he's hooked up to these oxygen machines, I mean, it breaks my heart, man, because it's not fair, right? I mean, a kid, he hasn't even had a chance to live his life, you know, so how can it's one thing if you're 30 or 40 years old and something happens and then you're thrown in a situation like that, because at least you've had, you know, a little bit of life. You've been able to live a little bit. But a kid, I mean, you're going to steal life away from them and they haven't even started living yet. I mean, it breaks my heart, man. It breaks my heart when I see that, you know, but a lot of these kids, they don't know any different, right? They don't know what life is like outside of that little box and that world they're in. They don't know what life is like outside of it. So I take comfort in that because they don't know necessarily how good it is, you know, on greener grass, you know, because they haven't lived that life, so they don't know what to compare it to. But still, I mean, you know, you're getting weird looks. People are looking at you 3-4 times every time they pass just because you're not like everybody else. And that alone would be a bitch, you know. It's no different than going to the zoo. These animals that should be out roaming, you know, the pastures and whatever, just living a normal life out in the wild, they're getting stared at, pointed at by kids, people. You know, it's a shitty situation, man. So, you know, when it comes to kids, it touches me a lot deeper, just because they haven't lived life yet, man. They haven't lived life, and they don't deserve to be going through the stuff they're going through. And this Alfie Evans, I mean, God bless this little kid's heart. I mean, when you see the pictures of this kid, it's hard to not get emotionally invested in it, even though you don't know who the kid is. It doesn't matter, man. Because at the end of the day, every single person you see on a daily basis is someone. Every single person you see on a daily basis means something to somebody, you know. So, yeah, man, I mean, I saw that story, started digging into it a little bit more. I still don't know nearly enough about it, but I know a little bit about it now to where I can kind of talk about it. But, yeah, it sounds like basically the kid has some condition. I forget what it's called, but he, you know, he's hooked up to like a ventilation system in a hospital overseas, and he's a vegetable, right? There's nothing there. He's not alert. He's not awake. He's not conscious, as far as I know. And basically, he's just being kept alive by these machines, right? And the parents are fighting tooth and nail to keep him alive. They're fighting tooth and nail to keep this hospital, to continue providing services to keep the child alive, because, you know, this is their child and that's what parents do, right? But then you have the hospital and the courts over there who are deeming it cruel or evil on the parents' part to insist that they continue performing these operations to keep this child alive, because they have already claimed, you know, that the child is brain dead. I mean, for lack of a better term, that he's a vegetable, and that if he does somehow miraculously pull through this thing, you know, he will be a vegetable, and there's no quality of life there. And so the hospitals and the courts view this as the parents just prolonging the inevitable, just prolonging what's, you know, already a foregone conclusion. You know, they think the kid's not going to pull through, so why continue to leave him on like life support? You know, so that's the battle that's going on here. You have the parents who are fighting their ass off to keep their kid alive, and get him out of the hospital and bring him somewhere in Italy where, I don't know, they can, I forget where exactly, but there's an option in Italy where, you know, somebody might be able to, you know, work a little magic, you know, and turn their fortunes. You know, so they're trying like hell to get their kid out of the hospital he's in and over to Italy, right? I mean, they're trying anything, last resort, just like any parent would. I mean, I know I would, man. If my kid was in that situation, I'd be fighting like hell, man. You know, you can forget about money. Fuck the money, man. You know, we're going to do whatever it takes. Yeah, and then the hospital, I mean, you know, a part of me has to really tip my hat to the hospital and the courts over there because, look, in the world we live in, you guys, hospitals are crooks. You know what I mean? They really are. Any care facility is, I mean, it feels like modern day robbery because the costs associated with all the services these places provide is horrifying. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. You know, I just had a family member who was in hospice care, and it was over $500 a day. And it wasn't to prolong life. It was just to provide comfort. But over $500 a day, you know, and that's just basic. You know what I mean? So can you imagine the money this kid's parents are forking out on a daily basis to keep this kid alive? It's, dude, man, I don't even want to know the number, man. But, you know, so the reason I tip my hat to this hospital is because they could be really milking this thing and insisting, you know, or just abiding by what the parents say and continuing to provide services. Keep this kid, you know, holding on as long as he can so they can keep collecting that money. Because every day they're making a good chunk of change. You know, so the fact that they're not, you know, stuck in that mentality of, okay, it's about money, money, money. You know, I got a lot of respect for that. Because I feel like here in America, there's a lot of places who would be doing it a lot differently. You know what I mean? I honestly believe that a lot of care facilities try to drag shit out so that they can make a little more money, you know? It's no different than when you go to the hospital and, you know, you get, fuck, man. You go in, you tell them, oh, I've been going through this, this, and that. And they provide solutions for two of those things. But after leaving, you realize, oh, they didn't even touch base on that third thing. And yeah, even though it's partly my fault for not digging into them about it, it's just part of their thing, man. Their routine to get you back in the door. I'm not saying that all hospitals, all doctors are crooked, man. I'm not saying that at all. So I think that's far from the case. I just think that in general, a lot of care facilities, a lot of hospitals, you know, it's all about that top dollar. But then again, it is everywhere, right? I mean, at the end of the day, money makes the world go round. Every company, every business, at the end of the day, it's about that fucking top dollar. You know, so I tip my hat to this hospital for not falling into that trap, you know. But yeah, I mean, could you guys imagine being in that kid's parents' shoes? I mean, you have a child that you brought to life. Last thing you want to do is throw in the towel and quit. You don't want to give up on the kid because he's your own flesh and blood, you know. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do. You want to exhaust every single possibility and, you know, exhaust every last resort, every option out there before you throw in the towel. So I don't blame them one bit for pulling every string they can find, you know, trying to make something happen because what did they have to lose? I mean, you know, at this point, they're just trying to get him out of the hospital over to Italy because who knows, man, maybe they can work their magic over there. Maybe they can drum up something miraculous over there. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, you can't fault the parents for, you know, fighting like hell to keep this kid alive. You know, I don't think it has anything to do with them wanting to be cruel or evil or, you know, I mean, like I said, God bless this kid's heart, man. He's not in a state of consciousness, so I don't think he's suffering. You know, but at the same time, man, hats off to this hospital for saying fuck the money. It isn't about the money, man. You know, regardless of what people think, we all have a heart, and we got to do what's right for this kid. So, you know, I support both sides, the parents and the hospital and the courts. I support both. It's just a heartbreaking story, you guys. Heartbreaking situation. Man, I'm just going to stay tuned. Let me know.